Hello guys and welcome to my channel. Today in this video guys I'm going to do a in-depth review of this FrSky R9M 2019 with 900 MHz radio transmitter module guys. In addition to unboxing guys, I will also be telling you what are the functions and features which this has to offer, and towards the end of the video guys I will also be telling you how to upgrade the firmware and also bind it to the radio receiver guys. So ensure that guys you watch this video till the end so that you do not miss out on any important information or instructions that I have to share. Before we move further guys, if you are new to my channel and not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and click that bell notification icon so that you get the notifications for my new videos. Let's get started. So guys, before we can start with the functions and feature which this has to offer guys, let's quickly unbox this and see the content inside. So guys, whenever you purchase this FrSky R9M 2019 900 MHz long range radio transmitter guys, it comes in this small cardboard yellow box guys. Onto the top side you can see it is branded by FrSky. Onto the top side you have the SKU and the model name, which is R9M 2019. This is non-European FCC module guys, so it operates on 900 to 930 megahertz guys. It is made in China. Onto the side guys you have nothing more than the website of FrSky RC guys. So guys, if you want to know more information about it, you can check out the website. So that is what you have. Onto the side you just have the branding and nothing more. So that is what you have. Onto the back side guys, you have nothing more than the disposable instructions, your website, email and telephone number apart from the barcode. That is what you have on the top of the box guys. Let's quickly unbox this and see the content inside. So as you can see guys, inside the box you can see it comes with the user manual and instruction guys. If you want you can go through it. In this video guys I will also be telling you what all those informations are, how to configure this radio transmitter module onto the radio receiver and how to bind it to your radio receiver guys. So ensure that guys you watch this video till the end. So for now guys I will keep this user manual aside. Inside the box guys, as you can see, this is your radio transmitter module itself that comes in this foam packaging so as to prevent it from any damage or scratches during the transports. So let's keep this aside. We'll see that in detail. In addition to that guys, it also comes with this antenna. This is a long range antenna guys that it comes with. This is 900 megahertz antenna guys. So if you're in Europe guys, you need to purchase something like 800 megahertz antenna, but if you are in US or North America guys, you need to purchase this 900 megahertz radio transmitter with 900 megahertz radio transmitter antenna guys. So that is what it is guys. So as you can see, this antenna is well built, made out of metal all the way through. This is more like T antenna, but then you have this loop onto the top guys, and this is the bottom side guys where you connect it to the radio transmitter guys. Onto the bottom side guys, here you have the connector pin so as to be able to connect it onto the top side of your radio transmitter. So this is a real simple antenna guys, but at the same time it gives you a longer penetration and larger range so as to be able to control your drone from a larger distance. So that is what it is used for guys. So there is nothing more inside the box guys. Let's keep the box aside. So guys, this is your radio transmitter module itself. As you can see guys, this is a small box guys, which goes on to the back side of your radio transmitter guys. In a minute guys I will also show you how to connect it onto your radio transmitter guys, but before that let's quickly see what are the functions and features available onto this radio transmitter guys. So guys, as you know, this is a long range radio transmitter guys, so you will be able to transmit the control signal onto the drone up to a very long range, which is about around 10 kilometers or above depending upon the interference and area that you have. So guys, this is a very useful radio transmitter guys so as to be able to give you a longer range. Onto this side guys, here onto the top you can see this is the place where you can attach the antenna. So this is the antenna guys. Here you can see you have to attach it just like this to hold this onto its place, and then there is a nut onto your antenna guys so as to be able to connect it onto your radio transmitter guys. So that is how you need to connect your radio transmitter. Ensure that guys whenever you power this up your antenna is connected, otherwise immediately you will damage your radio transmitter guys. So it is super important guys for you to ensure that you connect the antenna before you can power this up. On to the back side guys, here you can see it says the model number is R9M, FCC ID and your FrSky electronics and your disposable instruction made in China. Here onto the back side guys, here you can see it has a 5-pin connector guys so as to be able to connect it onto your radio transmitter. On your radio transmitter guys, normally you have a place or a box or an empty place where you can put this external modules so as to be able to communicate with your radio transmitter and send the transmission signal from this external module instead of the internal module that you have on your radio transmitter. So this is the port guys where you connect it. On to the top side guys, here you can see the pins that you have here. Longer one is your RS232 port, which is ground 5V TX and RX, so that is what it is. And here on to this side guys, you have 3-pin connector guys, which is your negative, positive and smart port. So this port can also be used guys to be able to upload the firmware onto your radio receiver guys, if you connect it here using 5V ground and smart port. As you know guys, smart port is nothing more than your telemetry port guys, so ensure that guys whenever you connect it onto your radio transmitter guys, you have your smart port enabled, otherwise you will not get the telemetry from your radio receiver guys. So that is what these ports are used for guys. Here you can see there are 2 buttons guys, or 2 switches. Here you can see you have switch 1 and 2, and onto the top side guys it is marked as on. So those switches guys are used to control the power level guys at which your radio transmission is happening. So as you know guys, your radio transmitter supports 4 level of power guys, which is your 25 milliwatt, 100 milliwatt, 500 milliwatt and 1000 milliwatt or 1 watt. So what these switches are, depending upon the positions that you have, whenever both are off guys, it is at 25 milliwatt. When only one is on, which is your 100 milliwatt. When only 2 is on, this is your 500 milliwatt. When both 1 and 2 are on, this is your 1000 milliwatt. So that is how guys you know at which power your radio transmitter is transmitting the signal guys. Here onto the top side guys, here you can see this is the button. So whenever you set the power guys, you have to click this once, so that your LED indicator that you have here onto the top will blink and tell you whether it is transmitting at 25 milliwatt, 100 milliwatt, 500 milliwatt and 1000 milliwatt by blinking once, twice, thrice or 4 times, depending upon the power at which it is transmitting. Here onto the back side guys, here you can also see there is a external power connector guys, so you will be able to power this using an external battery, which is supported here from 1S battery to 2S battery, so as to be able to power this externally even if you are connected onto radio transmitter guys. So if you are both connected to this external battery and to your radio transmitter guys, so depending upon the higher voltage at which your power supply is, out of these 2 supply, it will switch to the supplying power, which gives it an higher power. So that is what it is used for. This is I think an XT30 connector guys, so as to be able to connect an external battery directly onto this radio transmitter guys. Here guys you can see it comes with a branding, which is R9M 2019. This is a long range radio transmitter from FrSky, which also supports access protocol. As you know guys, access protocol is nothing more than an encryption, or the way in which your radio transmitter communicates onto your radio receiver guys. It is an encryption protocol which is patented by this FrSky. So that is what it is guys, which gives you a lot of functionality like auto binding. It will not interfere with any other persons that are flying along with you guys in the area if you are using the same module. So that is also something really nice which is offered by this long range radio transmitter guys. So guys, this is my radio transmitter itself. This is RadioMaster TX16S. To install this FrSky R9M module onto the backside guys. So let's turn this onto the back. Onto the backside guys, as you can see, there is a box onto the back with some of the pins which are available to be able to connect your radio transmitter external module guys. So as you know guys, this is the external module that I want to install guys. Here onto the backside, here you have the pins guys that will be aligning onto this pin, so as to be able to power your external module and also communicate with your external module operating system guys. That is how guys you need to install this R9M module guys. So let's quickly do that. It is super simple guys. All you need to do is ensure that your antenna does not interfere with your handle, and you gently insert this and push this onto the backside slot guys. So that is how guys you need to install your external module onto your radio transmitter guys. The pins which were there inside guys will automatically align with the pins of your radio transmitters. You don't have to worry. In addition to that guys, ensure that your antenna is in parallel with your surface of the radio transmitter. So that is how guys you need to install the antenna onto your external module. So since my antenna and my radio transmitter is now connected, let's quickly power this up.
Welcome to HTX.
So here you can see guys, my radio transmitter is properly booted up guys. In my previous videos guys, I've already done the unboxing and review of this RadioMaster TX16S guys. If you have not seen that video guys, I will put the link of the video above or in the description below for you guys to check it out. So guys, since it is powered up, let's check onto the back side guys. Here you can see if your module is properly connected, you will see a red light onto the back, powered on. If you want to power it up using the external power battery guys, you need to connect it right here guys. So that is all you need to do for now to power this external radio transmitter guys. Now let's quickly download the firmware to update your radio transmitter and receiver itself. Before guys we can start downloading the firmware, we need to connect your radio transmitter onto PC. As you can see guys, onto the top side of your radio transmitter TX16S guys, you have a USB type C port here onto the top. So using a USB type C to USB type A cable that you might have, you need to connect using the top side port of your radio transmitter to connect it to the PC so as to be able to upload the firmware onto your radio transmitter guys. So let's quickly do that. You have to connect USB type C onto the top side port guys like this, and then connect this onto your PC. And now let's get onto the PC and upload the firmware onto your radio transmitter. So guys, to download the firmware, you have to first go on to FrSky website guys. I will put the link of this website in the description below for you guys to check it out. So guys, from this website we'll be downloading the firmware for your radio transmitter and receiver both. So we have to go on to the products, and here you can see you have the modules. You have to go on to 900 MHz R9 module. This is your transmitter module firmware guys. So that is what we are going to download first. So here you can see guys, onto the product page, it will take you to this 900 MHz web page guys. Here you have R9M 2019 module guys. This is the module that I have. So click on that. From there guys, you have to go on to the download section of this page, and then it will take you to the download page. So here you can see guys, there are many sections here, which is manual, FCC certificate, CE certificate, access firmware, and ACCST firmware guys. Since I am using an HTX operating system or OpenTX operating system guys, do not download the access firmware guys, it does not work. So ensure that guys, whenever you download the firmware, it is ACCST firmware that you want to download if you are using an HTX or OpenTX operating system onto your radio transmitter guys. So let's quickly download this. So as you can see guys, my firmware is now downloaded. Let's go on to the product page again and download the firmware for the receiver. As you know guys, I have R9Slim plus OTA receiver guys, which I have installed onto my drone guys. So I will download the firmware for 900 MHz R9. So here you can see guys, this is my R9Slim plus OTA. And similarly guys, you have to go on to the download section, to the download page. And here also guys, you have access and ACCST firmware guys. Like I told you before guys, do not download access firmware. It does not work with your HTX or OpenTX operating system as of now guys. So ensure that guys, you download ACCST firmware, which is available as of now. So let's quickly download that. So as you can see guys, my firmware is now downloaded. Now let's quickly connect my radio transmitter and upload the firmware onto my SD card. So whenever you connect your radio transmitter onto your PC guys, you will see the USB drive with a lot of folders. One of the folder would be firmware folder guys. This is the folder in which we will upload the firmware guys. So double click inside. To keep it at one place guys, I will create another folder inside this one, which I will call FrSky R9. So inside this folder guys, let's quickly extract the firmware and upload it onto this folder guys. So let's quickly do that one by one. All we need to do is drag and drop this folder onto this radio transmitter guys. This is your transmitter firmware guys. That is what we are going to upload. So this is your transmitter firmware guys, uploaded onto your radio transmitter. And then guys, you have the receiver firmware here. We will do the same thing onto this folder. We will drag and drop from the archive to extract and save it onto your radio transmitter. So guys, now since the firmware is all downloaded, let's quickly upload the firmware onto your radio transmitter and receiver guys. So guys, now that we have downloaded the firmware and uploaded onto the SD card of the radio transmitter guys, now let's quickly flash the firmware onto the external module. Before we do that guys, ensure that your external module is connected onto the JR bay onto the backside guys. and your antenna is connected onto the external module. Now let's power this up. So guys, as and when you power your radio transmitter guys, you can see the LED onto this external module is turned off. So ensure that guys, whenever you flash the firmware, first thing you need to do is enable the external module onto your radio transmitter if you have not done that previously. So as of now guys, I have turned it off. Let's quickly turn this on. So guys, to turn on the external module, all you need to do is go on to the mode menu guys here and scroll all the way down where you see external RF. So here you can see guys, my external RF as of now is turned off. So let's turn it on. So we have to select R9M so as to be able to enable the external module. As you know, this is an R9M module guys. So as and when you do that guys, you can see onto the back the LED turns on. So that is how you need your external module to turn on before you can start flashing the firmware. So once it is turned on guys, you have to hit return and then go on to the system menu from here guys. From system menu guys, you have to go to SD card. So this is the SD card guys, onto the firmware folder guys. Since we have uploaded the firmware onto the firmware folder, here you can see guys, you have FrSky R9. This is the folder that we created onto the SD card guys, which contains the firmware. As you can see guys, there are two firmware guys that we uploaded. The first one is for your external module onto your radio transmitter, and the second one is your radio receiver firmware guys. So ensure that guys, whenever you upload the firmware, you upload the exact same firmware and the same version onto your transmitter and receiver. This is super important guys. Now guys, let's first upload the firmware onto the external module since it is powered on. So we'll be using the FLEX model guys. So this is what we are going to upload onto my radio transmitter guys, and whenever we install the firmware onto radio receiver, it has to be FLEX as well. So FCC is for America, LBT is for Europe guys, and FLEX is an hybrid model guys. So that will give you a flexibility to change the frequency. So that is what it is. So we will include the FLEX for now. So here you can see, here is your firmware. All you need to do is long hold the scroll pad guys to start the firmware flashing. So here you can see guys, it gives you an option to flash the internal module, external module, copy, rename and delete. Select the flash external module guys to flash the firmware onto your radio transmitter that you have connected onto the back. Ensure that guys, it is powered on. As of now, as you can see, the LED is on. That means it is good to go. So let's do that. So here you can see guys, it will start flashing the firmware right away as and when you select the option. Give it some time guys, it will finish writing the firmware onto the external module. So as you can see guys, whenever the flash is complete, you can see there is a confirmation onto the screen that flash is successful. At this point guys, you need to hit return so as to go back onto the main menu. So as you can see guys, the external module has been flashed successfully with R9M FLEX firmware guys. As you can see guys, the firmware that I have flashed is XST guys. So ensure that guys, you flash this firmware guys if you are using Radio Master TX16S guys and you are using this radio transmitter to connect it or bind it to your radio receiver guys. If you flash access firmware guys, it is not going to work. I have tried before this video guys and it does not work at all. So if you have a radio transmitter with HTX operating system or OpenTX operating system and you are using FrSky external transmitter module and receiver module guys, ensure that you flash R9M ACCST firmware. Other firmwares do not work unless you have an FrSky radio transmitter guys. So if you do not have FrSky radio transmitter guys, always follow ACCST firmware. That is what you need to install onto your external module. Although it says that it supports access firmware guys, here you can see, but I have already tried, it does not work. So now that we have flashed the firmware onto your radio transmitter guys, now let's flash the firmware onto radio receiver. To do that guys, first we need to turn your radio transmitter off. And then guys, you need to remove this external radio transmitter guys, because you will be connecting the radio receiver for the first time if you are flashing your radio receiver. So So we have removed that. As you can see guys, these are the pins that we are going to use to flash the firmware onto your radio receiver guys. We have to use the bottom 3 pin guys to flash the firmware. The last pin is your S port guys, and then you have ground and 5 volt. That is how you need to connect your radio receiver guys, so as to be able to flash the firmware. As you know guys, the radio receiver that I am using is FrSky R9M OTA guys. Although this radio receiver guys has a capability to flash the firmware over OTA guys, but whenever you get it or purchase it for the first time, you need to connect it onto your radio transmitter guys using that jumper wave pin connection guys, so as to be able to flash the firmware for the first time, and from there onwards guys, you will be able to flash the firmware wirelessly. We'll see that quickly guys, how to flash it. So here you can see guys, these are the pins that I have already connected onto my radio receiver guys, and then let's quickly flash the firmware. So the white one is your S port, black is your ground, and the gray one or the green one guys, here you can see is the 5 volt. So let's quickly connect it onto the back side port of the radio receiver guys, so as to be able to flash the firmware. Ensure that guys, whenever you power this up, you hold this small flashing button guys, so as to be able to put it into the flashing mode, so that you can upload the firmware. So guys, as you can see, these are the pins. Let's quickly connect that. First, the white one is your S port, that is what you need to connect. Second one is the black wire, which is your ground, and the third one is your power or 5 volt. So as you can see guys, I have now connected the radio receiver guys onto my radio transmitter, so as to be able to flash the firmware for the first time. Now at the time of boot guys, we need to hold this button using this screwdriver that I'm going to use, so as to be able to put that into the bootloader mode. Let's power the radio transmitter guys, which will in turn power your radio transmitter as well, because it is now connected onto your radio transmitter guys. So let's do that quickly. Let's hold this button using the screwdriver and power my radio transmitter.
Welcome to HTX.
So as you can see guys, since I have booted this radio receiver guys into the flashing mode, you can see the red color light that it has is not flashing. So that is what we needed to put it into the bootloader mode, so as to be able to flash the firmware onto your radio receiver guys. Now let's go on to the radio transmitter, so as to be able to flash the firmware. So guys, keeping your radio receiver connected onto your radio transmitter guys, you need to go on to the system menu. Again, go on to your SD card, go on to the firmware and your folder for the firmware. So this time guys, I'm going to select the firmware for radio receiver, which is your R9Slim OTA Access T firmware guys, which is matching with your radio transmitter firmware, which is also Access T. So let's quickly go inside. Here you can see guys, there are several versions of the firmware which is available for FCC, FLEX, FLEX OTA, FPort, OTA and LBT guys. I have tested all of them guys. Nothing is going to work other than guys, if you select R9Slim OTA FLEX FPort. This is the firmware guys that you need to upload onto your radio receiver guys, so as to be able to bind your radio receiver to your radio transmitter guys. If you have a binding problem guys with your radio receiver and transmitter guys, which is most probably this is the reason that you have flashed any other firmware other than this what I am showing here. So you need to flash the firmware R9Slim OTA FLEX, and you have two versions of FLEX here guys, with FPort and without FPort. You have to definitely use FPort so as to be able to bind your radio receiver guys. Any other firmware is not going to work. So let's quickly flash the firmware by holding the scroll button guys, and then selecting flash external module guys. So that is how guys you need to flash the firmware. It will start writing the firmware onto your radio receiver guys if you have connected it properly. It will take some time guys to flash the firmware. In the meantime guys, I will show you how does it look like. Here you can see guys, the LED is blinking with green and red guys. So that is how you know your firmware is being flashed onto your radio receiver. So I will wait till the firmware is uploaded onto radio receiver successfully, and you will get a confirmation onto your radio receiver guys. Let's get back to your radio transmitter. As you can see guys, my flashing of the firmware is complete. Now I will hit the return button onto my radio transmitter, and I will go back to the main menu. From here guys, I need to power off my radio transmitter again and disconnect the wires. So let's do that. My radio transmitter is off. I will disconnect the wires from the back. And then guys, I will reconnect the wires of my radio transmitter from this JST connection for external flashing guys onto the flight controller guys. This is disconnected, and I will connect the wire like this. So now guys, I have connected the wires of the flight controller onto radio receiver guys. So this time guys, we need to power your flight controller, which will in turn power your radio receiver guys using the USB port that I have. And then I will put this into the binding mode by holding this button again. So let's use the USB cable that we have and connect it to the flight controller, and then holding this button guys, I will power this flight controller and radio receiver so as to put that into binding mode. So let's do that. So this is how we hold the button guys, and then power this up. So guys, as you can see, it is not flashing as of now, so it is in the binding mode. Now let's turn on the radio transmitter guys so as to be able to bind this radio receiver onto radio transmitter. So we'll install back the external transmitter module guys like this, and then power your radio transmitter guys again. So here you can see guys, I have powered it on. Now this time guys, we will go on to the mode menu and then again go on to the external module guys. Here you can see guys, you have a bind button to bind the radio transmitter onto receiver. Let's hit that, and then you will select telemetry on channel 9 to 16. So that is what we are going to use. So here you can see guys, it is beeping. That means it is finding the radio receiver so as to be able to bind it onto radio transmitter guys. As you can see guys, onto the radio receiver guys, the LED light is now blinking very fast guys. As you would have noticed earlier, it was a solid light guys. Now it is blinking real fast guys. That means that your radio receiver is successfully connected onto your radio transmitter guys, and will be able to see some telemetry onto your radio receiver. Let's get back to the radio receiver and check if we have got some telemetry. So on the radio receiver guys, hit page next to go on to the telemetry page guys. Here you can see I have successfully connected the radio transmitter to receiver. I am getting the battery voltage and RSSI signal, which is your signal strength of the connection between your radio transmitter and receiver guys. Since I am getting the telemetry guys, that means my radio transmitter and radio receiver is connected. We'll be able to control the radio receiver guys using this radio transmitter. If you are not getting this telemetry values guys, all you need to do is go on to this place where it says discover new guys. You have to click again so as to be able to discover the telemetry which is being transmitted as of now from your drone guys. Since my flight controller as of now is powered up using the USB power only guys, so the other sensors and other peripherals are not turned on, which is why I do not have extra sensor information or telemetry as of now transmitted from my radio transmitter onto radio receiver guys, which is why guys I have only RSSI signal strength and RX battery as of now transmitted from my drone onto my radio receiver. So this is it guys. This concludes this video on how to flash the firmware onto your FrSky R9M external long range module and your long range radio receiver, which is FrSky R9 Slim plus OTA. In addition to that guys, we have also seen how to bind the radio transmitter onto radio receiver so as to be able to control the functions of your drone from your radio transmitter, which is your Radio Master TX16S guys. So in my future videos guys, I will also be telling you how to configure the channels and everything in the firmware of the beta flight, which is being uploaded onto my flight controller guys. So ensure that guys you stay tuned to my channel so that you do not miss out on those videos. So this is it guys. I hope you guys like this video. If you guys like this video, please do not forget to to hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I will try and answer as soon as possible. If you are new to my channel and not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and click that bell notification icon so that you get the notifications for my new videos. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching and clear skies.